Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Vlad and his lieutenants stride forth into battle as the dead have been raised and are ready to do war against the Azure. As we have Vampire Counts versus the High Elves today, it is going to be myself on Vampire Counts, and we'll have Human Boy, yes, on the High Elves. So for the Vampire Counts army, it is going to be, of course, Vlad von Karstein. He is going to be rolling in with the Karstein Ring, giving him 66% damage resistance for 22 seconds, and that is a repeatable ability. We have Master of Beguilement, minus 40 melee attack, very nice against like dragons and some of the other very heavy hitters for the High Elves, the Fireborn are another good target for that. We have Arcane Conduit, we have Raise Dead, Invocation to Heck, we have Blood Drinker, as well as the Aura of Dark Grandeur, giving himself -4 leadership in an AoE around him. Now, for the rest of the infantry, it is going to be zombies for that front line, looking to take the brunt of the assault. While in the backline, it is going to be a Graveguard with great weapons, 3 units of those to try and whittle their way through more of the elite High Elf infantry, some Skeleton Warriors for just a little bit extra units, and then on the flanks, we have the Varix Reavers with 1 Black Coach on one side. Varix Reavers do have regeneration, and they are a rather nice shot cavalry. They have 110 armor, 62 charge bonus, pretty nice stats on that end, and that regeneration. While the High Elves do have quite a bit of fire damage, they still can get some nice work in for themselves. And on the other side, it is going to be the elite cavalry of the Vampire Counts, the Blood Knights, with another Black Coach on this side. So really looking to kind of shut down any of the ranged motion, and they are a very good answer to like the Star Dragon, for example, which there is going to be exactly that for the High Elves. Going to be rocking in with Alariel the Radiant, the Frostheart Phoenix, and Alariel is going to be bringing, we have Tempest, we have Earthblood, we have the Star of Avalorn, and we also have the Shield Stone of Isha, giving 12% physical resist in an AoE on top of the Boon of Isha, which is magic damage in an AoE around her. So that really kind of is very good against counts, especially with this nice box of doom that they've got going on for them, because they're able to get pretty much all those buffs on all of their units, and especially that Abuse Psychology really makes that fear and terror by like Vlad, for example, very easy to overcome, because in addition they have the Everqueen's Court guards, as they have the Sisters of Avalorn ROR, and for their item they do have the Banner of Avalorn, which gives a nice little increase to power recharge and power reserves. We have the Keepers of the Flame with some more Phoenix Guard and 2 Silverin in the back, and the Keepers of the Flame with the regular Phoenix Guard have a base 30% physical resist, so with that Shield Stone of Isha, that makes it all the way up to 42, and they do have a nice little bit of an explosion when they do die, the Mark of Asuran, which they do get a nice little fiery death, doing a little bit of extra damage. But that is going to be it for the armies. Let's get things rolling, as the Air Goon Squad can be flying right overhead. The Count's going to be getting a breath attack right on top of that White King, but White King is going to be knocked aside from the breath attack, so he's going to be missing most of that damage, so he's going to be able to tank that much better than maybe normally would have or normally expected, though the rest of the Goon Squad are going to be diving right into trying to get out to the Black Coach, but now all the Blood Knights are going to be cycling around, and the Star Dragon going to be taking that engagement. Going to be taking down quite a few of these Blood Knights. An Earthblood goes down on all of these units, and the Blood Knights are going to be getting an Invocation of a Heck as well, as they do try and just heal up a few of their models, while most of the all the single entities really were able to tank that, while the Blood Knights were on the receiving end of most of that damage. We get a nice Scab Strength going right through the Everqueen's Court guards, doing a nice bit of damage to them. Though unfortunately, it is not going to be taking out any of their models, just doing some nice damage. And Lariel with the rest of the Air Goon Squad coming back in to support, as these shots just continually raining right into that White King, doing a bunch of damage as it tries to get into the protection of the Keepers of the Flame to avoid all that incoming fire. And an Earthblood also going to be going down, healing up these Everqueen Court guards, especially without losing any models. Going to be rather nice, but the zombie does go down on top of them, trying to just shut them down from firing, as those shots are starting to rain into the more elite Graveguard, which the Counts are going to sorely need if they're going to try and get through all of this. The Phoenix Guard, for instance, and the White King on the recipient end of another breath attack from that Star Dragon. And really, I think the Star Dragon's better to be trying to use that breath attack against like the Blood Knights or even these Graveguard that can do so much damage, pretty much taking them out. The Silverin Guard with Alariel going to be able to kind of beat back these zombies, trying to get them taken care of as quickly as possible to free them up to get some more shots in. But the Black Knight, or the Black Coach, and all of the Blood Knights going to be charging in to the rear of these Silverin Guards, who are not going to be braced for this charge, going to be getting a nice charge in from them. And they are going going to be doing a nice bit of damage, but they're not going to want to stick around too long. They don't want to be engaged with those spears, or especially with that Star Dragon, for very long. We are going to be getting another zombie summons on top of the Everqueen's Court Guard, trying to just keep them shut down for the entirety of this game. And the first Star of Avalon goes off, going to be healing up these Phoenix Guard, who did take a nice side charge from the Varix Reavers. And he's going to also be healing up all the Sylvan Guards, the Everqueen Court Guards, who have only lost 5 models so far. So really that, while it's not going to be healing up the single entities, it is going to be still healing up plenty of the elite units. So it is going to be getting some nice value generated from that cast. And now that it's going to be having both the Blood Knights and the Varix Reavers off into the distance, as a second Scabscrath is going to be going right through these guys once again. And the Everqueen Court Guards are just on the recipient end of so many spells and abilities from the Counts, just trying to get rid of them. But they are just going to be so persistent, continuing to fire away, as one of the Graveguard off into the distance has been a little forgotten just for the time being, but is on its way to join the fray. Varix Reavers is going to be starting to crumbling, but the Blood Knight's going to be getting a nice charge into the Star Dragon with Master of Beguilement popped right as they engage. A nice timing on that, so it's pretty much going to make that Star Dragon very hard to hit. I mean, if you take a look, only 27 melee attack now with that Master of Beguilement down. So that is just going to allow those Blood Knights to stay in that engagement for a lot longer and dishing out quite a bit of damage. In the meantime, the Star Dragon does want to kind of move back into his own spears and halberds, while the Black Coaches are just trying to roam through these units for as long as they can. But the Alariel the Radiant getting some nice hits into this one Black Coach, getting it down nice and low, while the rest of the units do pile in on top of her, trying to just free up as many of their units as the Black Coach is going to be pulling right out of this engagement, as the rest of the units are just slowly grinding away in the front line. The Keepers of Flames and the Phoenix Guard are starting to take a bit more damage. The Star Dragon starting to circle overhead, and that is going to get both of these Graveguard to kind of respond, trying to avoid any of the incoming breath attacks. And here comes the final one, right on top of the White King again. Going to be taking a bit more damage from this one than the other two, but still I think the breath attacks should have been used on the Graveguard or the Blood Knights if at all possible, as things are just kind of slowly healing up for those Varix Reavers with the regeneration. And the Star Dragon once again diving down into melee, able to take down one of the White Kings, as down it shall fall. The other White King is getting very low itself, which is just going to leave Vlad as the sole anchor of the center ranks, as we get the third Scratch Death from this White King. So the other White King did miss out on that one, but just as it gets it off, it does fall, so it is now just down to Vlad for the leadership. But there's still plenty of mobility left for the Counts, as they continually cycle in and out of these engagements, just trying to whittle down the High Elf infantry. One of the Silverin Guard finally do rout. That is going to be the first unit that is going to be taken out of the fight. Even the Everqueen's Court Guard have been able to last to the very bitter end, and the second Star of Avalon going to be healing up the Phoenix Guard and the Keepers of the Flame, so getting some nice bit more healing on that side, so a lot more, up to 1,000 HP for those that it does end up hitting. And down goes one of the Black Coaches, though, due to crumbling. And the Blood Knights hit almost up to their healing cap themselves, so Vlad von Carson has not been so lax with his Winds of Magic, making sure those Elite Cav are sitting nice and healthy as they continue to cycle in and out. They still have plenty of units to deal with. I mean, the Star Dragon going to be getting on top of the Blood Knights with all of the rest of the single entity Goon Squad, and is going to be able to start dishing out the damage, dropping Blood Knights left, right, and center. But Master Beguilement popped once again, going to be reducing its melee attack by -40. Another Silverin Guard. This time, this one is going to be shattering, and the rest of the core squad of the High Elves are all going to be routing off the Phoenix Guard, the Keepers of Flame, the Everqueen's Court Guards. Everything is routing now, and the Blood Knights pretty much acting as bait to an extent, but they have been able to deal with Alariel the Radiant. They are bonus versus large after all, and they were able to whittle her down to the point of routing, and she is being kept on the ground by these Blood Knights, who are just going to be escorting her for as long as possible, and do finally end up shattering Alariel. And that means that Immunopsychology, I mean, for the Frostheart and the Star Dragon, not really that big of a factor, but also losing out on that physical resist to boot as well, which is just going to make those Blood Knights all the more painful to deal with. And they're just going to be making sure that the Keepers of the Flame, all of these Phoenix Guard, are going to stay away once and for all, because there is just so much infantry left for the Counts. They have plenty of Grave Guard. Vlad is still sitting nice and healthy at full health, And if we take a look how much healing he still has left, he still has 1,000 HP left for healing. So he's used up 2k of it so far, but he is sitting fresh as the daisy, ready to go another round. And he's going to be looking to charge right on in to that Star Dragon. Star Dragon is still going to be a mighty foe to deal with, landing a nice little hit against Vlad, but there is just way too many infantry left, and they are going to be dragging down the Star Dragon and that Frostheart Phoenix, making sure that they have to stay in this engagement. They're not going to be able to pull out, and the Blood Knights themselves going to be getting a nice charge in, going to be utilizing their bonus versus large to the fullest extent, as the Black Coach is going to be making sure these Phoenix Guard do rout one more time. They did come back, but they are far too far away for them to make any difference, and that Black Coach is going to continually cycle in and out, make sure that they get dealt with once and for all. The Star Dragon is going to be routing itself, and then with that Star Dragon gone, I think that is pretty much going to be curtains for the High Elves, as the Counts do pull through and emerge victorious in a very tough matchup that is very much the High Elf favored. So take a little look at the after battle report here real quick. So for the High Elves, led by Human Boy, the Star Dragon getting 4,000 in total value throughout the fight. Plenty of value to be gained, especially with all the healing going down by the Counts, able to generate much more value than against some factions that don't have access to that kind of healing. The Frostheart not doing as great, getting 600, and this Everqueen Court Guards did get pretty much all the focus of like the summons and everything like that were just targeted solely on the Everqueen's Court Guard, trying to get rid of them. They have a very nice DPS. So it's not really a surprise that they didn't get that much value, but they just were a constant focus from the Counts, making sure that these guys did stop shooting for as long as they can. For the two Phoenix Guard, they did rather well themselves, getting 1,500 between the two of them. Silverun getting 600 between those as well, and then Alariel the Radiant getting 873. But in the end, it was not quite enough for the Counts. Did reign supreme. Both of the Black Coaches not quite able to pay for themselves. They do cost 1,000, and the Star Dragon itself did very well against them. But still, you kind of need them to just try and whittle through all of the elite infantry, and they did get a decent amount of value, and one having it around in the late game was very nice indeed. And then we have the Blood Knights, the elite Vampire Counts Cavalry, getting 4,379 in total value. I don't think I have seen Blood Knights get this quite high a value. I mean, it kind of comes to the extent where the High Elves have access to that kind of healing as well that the Counts have, so both of these values are going to be inflated quite a bit, but that is still a considerable amount. They were heal capped in that fight, but still that is a nice juicy amount of damage being dealt. Barracks Reavers not so great, but all of the Graveguard with great weapons doing rather well themselves. And then the rest of the infantry, again, just kind of there. Both of the White Kings able to at least pay for themselves. Those scavengers doing a nice bit of work, but most of that was able to heal, get healed right back up, considering that doesn't necessarily kill models, but it does do quite a bit of damage, and you can see that with the value that they've gained. Vlad von Carstein being the anchor of the formation, able to get 1,300 in value, so a nice respectable performance from him. And of course, that Fear and Terror eventually kind of pulled through, but of course against those terror-causing single entities, not going to be a whole lot of use, even after Alariel had been routed from the field. But a very fun match, a little grindy to an extent, but still a little bit of a monster fight. Some nice high damage values on both sides. That is all I'm going to have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video. And as you probably noticed, though, this is not going to be WWC coverage anymore. There might be another game or two kind of filtered in that I kind of stumble across from that lineup. But that is now behind us. It's going to be back to the more usual casting schedule, I'm hoping. So it's not going to be as many best of threes, best of fives, but I might try and throw a few in there. Just kind of get a little bit more of that tournament feel once those tournaments start popping up again. But, of course, I do hope you enjoyed the video. And that is all I have for you today. So, as always, have a good one.